that he had raped somebody. Oh,
Can't be him, because a witness has never been wrong.
what in the ass? Hey everyone, welcome to Born Brazen. We're your hosts, Holly and Jules. Not
That's
Holly's.
me.
There's only one of us. On this podcast, we walk through documentaries and what our thoughts on all the things that are happening. If you have never been here before, get comfortable as we navigate through these wild cases. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're so glad you're here.
Hey, Holly,
Yes.
what do you call a chicken staring at a piece of lettuce?
I don't know.
Chicken Caesar salad.
Chicken Caesar salad. That was a good one. I appreciate that one. That was a good one. I love it.
Happy to help.
Happy to help. Alrighty. Sorry, guys. I got something in my eyeball. Okay. So today we are going to talk about part 2 of the murder of Rachel Nickell, which is on Netflix, the documentary, and the reenactment. That's the word I was looking for last time. The reenactment called The Witness. And they go side by side. So as Julie mentioned last week, once you finish the documentary, it automatically recommended watch The Witness. It just came out a little bit ago, so it's probably still in your top 10 on Netflix. If you go to that, you'll get the top 10 watched.
And I would recommend to watch the documentary first, then watch the 3-part The Witness.
Yes, because The Witness is dramatized, right? It's not going to have all of the facts right there. It's going to have stuff to fluff it to make it.
Yeah, it changes a few things, like some of the factual things, which I'm sure we'll probably talk about. Not that it was important, really, because it kind of wasn't. But
yeah,
but they changed a few things that I saw.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched part 1, go back last week and watch it. Or you can stay on part 2 and be slightly confused as to what's going on. But hey, do you? I'm not your mama and I never will be. So last part we left off is the case went cold. They arrested Colin Stagg with 2 G's and didn't really have any hardcore evidence on him, so they let him go. So following that cold case, as where it kind of died, they decided to look more into Colin again and set up a ruse.
Well, first, a witness came forward first, I believe.
Yes.
How this went down.
Yes.
A witness came forward and said, that guy that you arrested before, but then let go, I recognize his name and we were pen pals.
Because remember, this is back in the day, y'all. We weren't texting. I mean, we had beepers back then?
Yeah,
Pagers?
this is 1993 at this point. Pagers were probably out then. I had one.
I did.
I had mine.
You had to put the letters in there, like the number. So if you turned it around, it said hello.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you paged each other all that BS all the time. Boobs.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I had one as well. Yeah. So they were 92. Yeah, because I had mine. I probably had my pager when I was 14, 15 years old, because I didn't get my cell phone until, and it was a brick of a cell phone that I got when I was driving. Because after I started driving, I had my pager at the beginning, and I would have to stop whenever my parents paged me and use a payphone to call them back. And then eventually my mom, the AT&T thing came in the mail. Look, you can get this cool cell phone. And they opted for getting me one of those to make it easier while I was driving. So I didn't have to always have a quarter.
Listen.
This was even before it was 35 cents. This was just a quarter.
Who remembers Nextel?
My favorite by far.
Love Nextel. It's like a walkie-talkie.
Yes. And I have a funny story about this.
Bloop, bloop. You there? I know you're there. You can hear me.
And I got myself in trouble with that one time.
Oh, what'd you do?
So I was not at home. And my boyfriend at the time, who was my now husband, was at home. And we had a friend that was living with us at the time. And we were doing something. I don't know what we were doing, but like we had a friend that was staying with us at the time, which we did that a lot. And my husband was there and my dad was there for one reason or another. And I needed our friend for something that was asleep. And so I was not aware that my father was standing right there. And I beeped my boyfriend and was like, what's so-and-so doing? And he beeped back and said, I think he's still sleeping. And I beeped back some choice words of he better get his beep, beep, beep up. And one of those words was the F word. And didn't really cuss at her. Still don't cuss in front of my mom that much. She does not want to hear that come out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. So
she's really sad because I drop them. Not some of the F-bomb, but I drop cuss words around her all the time. But she loves me for me.
In that moment, it was like I said it, and then immediately Mike was like, your father's here. And I just kind of beeped back, oops, and never really heard any more about it, but was very embarrassed about that after the fact.
And it was at that point where she knew she fucked up.
Yes.
That's amazing.
We always even made it very important to say, like when you'd beep, like we always handled it like typical like trucker, like I would physically just beep him. And if he wasn't busy, then he would beep back. And I would know that was like, okay, it's safe to talk to him. Yeah. But typically it would either just be a beep or we would warn each other. Like, I'm here. Yes. Like, tell me what you need. But the nowadays equivalent of, hello, you're on speakerphone. Like,
yeah. Or, hey, I'm here sitting with Dad. What's up?
Yeah, he missed that boat on that conversation. So, yeah. But, he didn't care because I was the one getting in trouble with my dad, not him.
Bless him. Bless him. That's amazing.
But I miss them. That was fun to have. I love them. Having the pager too. The pager was fun. I just like deciphering everything, because your friends you'd get a book in one page, but like, you got to write that shit down and you're like looking at the number, like, okay, this says what?
Yeah. It was like Morse code.
Mm-hmm.
You had to decipher it. And
it only got worse when you went to cell phones, because then it's like, okay, I'm going to text, but, oh, you want the letter N? Well, you better hit the 6 2 times.
Yeah.
And I got that right, I believe. 6. And it's the second push because it's MNO.
Yeah.
Like, you never lose that.
Well, I think too with pagers, if you didn't want to talk to somebody, you didn't have to.
Yeah. You didn't have to answer. I don't have to call you back either.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's not only answering, it's just you don't have to call.
Yeah.
Which I really like that, because sometimes these things right here, you're too connected. You're just too available. Maybe that's the word. You're too available for people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. I guess the older older I get, the more antisocial I get. So, and Julie just texted me and said, "Hey, Holly, what up, girl?" Okay, moving right along. Our tangent is over, and let's move along. So, this lady calls in and says, "Hey, he looks really familiar. Well, let me tell you what he's been doing." So, he's my pen pal, and he has been describing his fantasies with me. And so they said, which is crazy. I want to talk about this too. So the police said, okay, we're going to set up a sting operation, if you will. We're going to have somebody. Undercover. Yeah, undercover. So we're going to have somebody write to him and kind of try to gather that information. So play it off like, hey, how are you? I'm really interested in things like that.
Start at the beginning, work their way into some kind of, let's see if we can get him to say things that only the killer would know.
Yes.
And like if we can get him to lead into essentially describing what he did, like that he would want to do that to somebody.
Right. Because again, when we go back to profiling him, that was one of the motives is, he hated women. He wanted to hurt them and he wanted to assault them, sexual and physical, obviously. So, and they're trying to get him to relive that. And most killers or serial killers, they like to brag about what they did.
Oh, yeah. And relive it.
They like to relive it, which a lot of them go back to the crime scene to relive it. So it's pending you're on the right track. This is a perfect thing to do.
Yeah. So in their mind, that's all they got currently. So
yeah, because they had nothing else on him.
What?
Yeah, because they had nothing else on him, which is why they let him go. Mm-hmm. But again, they are so headstrong that this is
focused on him.
They're so hyper focused that this comes up and they're like, well, I told you, he's got to be the guy.
Yeah.
So let's set him up for this and see if he confesses, like if he gives us some more information. So they started sending letters back and forth, sex letters, if you will. They were sexting via pen pal.
While this was occurring, I did make a note that while this was all occurring with the letters and stuff, this is when what I mentioned in part 1, where the father was playing with him and the son started talking more and drawing pictures. And so he put his phone up and then recorded the conversation and then sent the photos, like the stuff that he drew and the video, he sent those to the cops as like hey, he's talking again. He drew these photos and then he got more information about getting more information from the son, not to be too I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but he got a little bit more detailed and not saying things that you don't want to hear your kids say, because he physically was saying about that he saw the bad man stick his weapon like in his mom. So
yeah,
it got a little graphic. Like, so that's the word I was looking for. I wasn't trying to really get too graphic, but the kid got a little bit more graphic, the son, when this was occurring. So the dad was kind of like, okay, I'm going to let them know all of this stuff, because all of that was happening at the same time. These letters were occurring. And then it finally got to the point where they were like, oh yeah, we have enough in the letters. And then the information that we got from the little boy that we're going to arrest him again. So
yes,
decided to arrest him again. Right.
Yeah. So the letters he wrote were very similar to the crime that happened. So to the way Rachel died. So that's when they were like, he's got this fantasy.
I feel like it was a little vague. Like, I feel like they were reading into it a lot more. Like, again,
Sure.
for them to be so like, it was him, it was him, it was him. I feel like they read into his letters a good bit. And it also didn't help in my brain that the cop was the one who was undercover. Like, they were using a cop to write the letters. So I'm not 100% like, I'm also feeling like they kind of egged him on a little bit. Like, maybe she said things, like led him on to say certain things.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a problem with this from the beginning when all of this was born. This idea was born for them to do all this stuff. I was kind of like, I mean, it's cool. The idea is cool, but I don't think they got the outcome that I would have been happy with to be like, yeah, like, let's get him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but it's also worked different over there. Like, they don't just bring somebody in for questioning. Like, he was like physically arrested. Like, so they're like
Right.
arrested over and over again, which I don't know how laws are over there about like the whole double jeopardy like we have here.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe they don't necessarily have that over there because every time it's like you're arrested for the same thing, you know, where if you let them go. But I guess also it's like more of a let go. I don't know. But like all that jargon that goes along with that. But it was worded that he was arrested again. And they kept asking him about the letters, but his answer about all the letters was always no comment. It's like he didn't want to admit to these feelings he had when he was writing these letters.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is when I made my mental note after he was arrested that second time and the kid was talking again and the dad was willing to record the kid again.
Yeah.
That is 100% when I wrote down, why didn't they think to show him lineups and pictures? Because once that guy was arrested a second time, I feel like at this point is when they should have at least attempted that. Like, because I feel like you let all this other stuff just happen, you know, because yes, it was the kid's idea to go to the place of the murder, you know, because he wanted to get out of the car. But I feel like there might have been a way that they could have asked and felt him out, like, you know, do you recognize any of these people? You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So after these letters were sent back and forth, which was going on for like a really long time, a year later, a little after her death, they arrested him again on August 17th of 1993. So they feel like they have solid evidence. He's still saying, didn't do it. I'm innocent. Wasn't me. What have you. But they felt like with the picture, with the witnesses, with these letters, this is our guy. There's no way it could be anyone else. This is our guy.
meanwhile,
And, drum roll, please.
yeah. Meanwhile, he's in jail.
He's in jail.
And 3 months later, after the arrest, a lovely lady by the name of Samantha Bissett and her daughter were found murdered in her apartment. Both of them. So that's where this case differs. Don't know, because we kind of touched on this and we mentioned in part one that I wanted to kind of dive into this a little bit deeper, because, you know, at this point you don't know who's done what, but I don't know if part of that factor with what we were talking about earlier with letting the little boy live versus this little girl was murdered, does the sex come into play? Like, because it was a little girl, he wasn't looking at that as being himself. So he took care of that witness versus the little boy, in his brain, that was him.
Yes.
So he didn't murder himself. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know about you or anybody else watching, because we'll get into this a little bit more. The murder took place in her apartment. Same thing kind of happening again with like no DNA or fingerprints.
Yes. Yes. So before we move forward, trigger warning, we are going to get into some pretty graphic details. So again, if this is not something that you want to hear, if it's triggering, if it's upsetting for you, fast forward on and continue on, because it's kind of relevant to the case, but nothing that it'll hurt if you miss. So yes. So like, you were saying, very similar to the original. However, I do think he escalated, because when he killed Rachel, he did stab her and he did sexually assault her. However, with Samantha and Jasmine, he stabbed Samantha, dragged her into the living room, onto the couch, put her in a star position, opened her up, and tried to remove her legs. Then he suffocated Jasmine, her daughter, and sexually assaulted her. What an escalation.
Yeah.
And that, he has a cool down period, right? The person who did this. Now, mind you, this isn't Colin, right? He's in jail. So there's no way this is Colin.
And did we say this was in a different city or town? I don't know what to equate that to for over there versus here, like kind of thinking between like the city we live in and the city next door. But I think that's why immediately they weren't like, wait, another, there was too many, they should have kind of thought about it, but the different city was probably a huge factor because it wasn't the same group of cops.
Yes.
And then the difference with this one being that the child didn't make it.
Correct.
It wasn't like a red flag. Like,
yes,
daytime,
there were similarities,
yeah,
but there were enough differences where they were like, it can't be the same person.
Yeah. Like they just had no idea. But I immediately in my head, I mean, granted, I'm watching a documentary, like it can tend to be a little predictable when you watch these over and over again.
Yeah.
But immediately, like I wrote a note down that I was like, regardless of a kid dying or not dying, my immediate thing was it's the same killer. Because of it being during the day, I felt like he probably did the same thing of do what I say and I won't hurt your daughter. Mm-hmm. And so because of the way it all went down, she passed first. So in her mind, she, at that moment, her daughter was still alive. So she was doing what she was supposed to do. Like, I'm going to do what you say because you're not going to hurt my daughter.
Right.
So I immediately, that's where my brain went. Like, it's going to end up being someone else. And this is why, because they kind of utilized the child at the beginning to get what they wanted.
And so as much as they were different in some of the aspects, they were still similar. Mm-hmm. So he still stalked her.
Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of a outdoorsy, grassy area near her apartment. Mm-hmm. So very similar place where he could kind of hang out in the woods and like eyeball and like no one kind of really know he's there. You're not paying attention.
So that's the same thing with Rachel. Mm-hmm. Was stabbed similar around 50 times. Dragged. But the difference was the kiddo. He didn't leave the kiddo alone. She was sexually Samantha was, sexually assaulted. And so, like you said, hindsight's 20/20. We look back at it and we're like, oh, duh. But they could have not. But I will say, somebody did mention him before.
Yes.
In the Rachel Nickell case.
Yes. They were like, you have the wrong person.
Yes.
So there was a little bit of the knowledge was there in someone's head.
Right. They never questioned him. They never brought him in. And he'd also been arrested previously for stalking women. He was
Mhm.
watching somebody, and the lady actually called the cops, was like, some weirdos out there watching me. And he
Mhm.
was arrested then.
Mhm. So
So he has
he was known.
prior histories, which I don't believe Colin ever had prior history. He was pretty clean.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that he was.
I mean,
Now, in the meantime, I want to add, while this is going on, where like they're dealing with this double murder and then not really thinking anything of who did that because the other guy's in jail, they're asking the father, telling the father, well, we arrested this guy and we're
you're
going to go
good.
to court and we need your son to testify.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like all this is going on at the same time, and the dad's just, what? Like, I don't want him to have to do that. Like, it was just a huge thing. And
Yes.
so without the son as a witness, not knowing whether or not the dad's going to allow this to occur, finally someone asks to go over the prints again from the first murder.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of segues. At this point, we kind of start learning some new things, and the light bulb kind of goes off a little bit.
Yes. Now with Colin, he did end up going to court, and his case was totally thrown out because they said they pretty much set him up for the charges with the sexual letters. They said, you can't remember the word for it, but you set it up to where you made him guilty without any evidence, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So they dismissed his
The
case
judge was
totally.
like, no.
So then they have to, and this is where Andre, the dad, lost all faith in the justice system because they were telling him, we got the guy, he's in jail, he's going to court. Yes, we would like him to testify, but, we're going to put him in jail. Then they call him and say, yes, so he was let out.
Yeah.
They dismissed the case. So now Andre's like, okay, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
They thought they could put it past them. He's like, okay, it's not over yet.
Yeah. Because now they need like, let's go over these prints again because they need other evidence to be able to try him again. Like to actually try him. The judge wants, they want actual evidence and not just letters that you kind of
Hearsay.
help him right. Like, yeah.
Yes. And so Mickey was the person who opened the case. And let's just say, thank goodness for Mickey. Mickey had a hunch.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey took that hunch and made a hill. And we're so thankful for Mickey. So, yes, so they reopened the case. They what's the word I'm looking for?
Retest?
Yes, they re-examined, that's what I'm looking for,
There you go.
the DNA. And associated him with Robert Napper. And I believe what they did with the DNA was really, really like awesome. And I've never heard of this. It was the first time it's ever been done. So they had such a small DNA sample and they were pretty much like, hey,
one and done.
This is a one and done. Like if you don't get it right, you're losing that evidence forever.
Because we wouldn't be able to test that again.
Yes. So the lab actually like replicated the sample and created,
to make more.
So they replicated it to make more. And that's how they actually got the DNA to track this guy, which was brilliant. Like, whoever thought of that, gold star, because they did amazing. And I would say single-handedly solved this case.
Yes.
But nobody probably ever thanked them or did anything. They're just like, the cops were like, look at me go. No. So now they have Robert Napper. He looks a lot like Colin. He looks a lot like the sketch that was happening. And so, again, I think DNA had evolved by then, but not that much. I think when they previously ran that DNA, they didn't get a hit for Colin. So they're like, oh, well, we're not going to investigate it anymore because it's such a small sample. Like, there's not enough DNA evidence to actually catch anybody. So we're just not even going to look at it. And it's like, but what if you could look at it?
Yeah.
What if, again, with so many other cases, you're in a job where you can't mess up.
Yeah.
You have to look at you have to turn every stone. You have to cross every T and dot every I. And if you don't, people's lives are in jeopardy. And so, and that's what happened, right? Like, Colin went to jail for how many years?
God, yeah, it was a lot.
Before he was tried. Yeah, before he was tried.
Well,
but
he
not
wasn't,
only
because he wasn't, he was actually in a, like, insane asylum, wasn't he? Wasn't he in
Colin?
a hospital?
That
He was more.
That was Rob. That was Bob.
Okay.
Colin was the first guy. He's
yes,
been a little bit.
Colin, the first guy. Yes.
Yeah, he spent a little bit of time, but not only that, like, he couldn't go anywhere because everybody was like, he's a killer. You know, this is all over the news by now.
Yeah, I believe it was, I want to say 2 years. I want to say.
I think so. It was a
Sounds
good
right.
period of time.
Yeah, it was a good period of time for somebody they made out to be. I mean, he was crazy, but he never did anything wrong. I mean,
Right.
he was crazy in his head, but he never hurt anybody. He never, he wasn't like an actual murderer.
Yeah. He just had potential. That was all. He confessed to his mom that he had raped somebody. And people had came to the police about him. But they never looked into him. Why? Because they thought they had the guy. They were so tunnel vision that they never even looked into him. And he never was caught for the rape victims because when they brought him in to talk to him, they eliminated him as a suspect because he was too tall.
Because of a witness statement that he's only this tall. Oh, well, this guy's this tall. Can't be him. Because a witness has never been wrong.
What in the ass? I don't know if it's laziness or if it's just pure stupidity. But how do you have witnesses coming in and saying, I think this guy did it, his mom calling and saying he confessed to it, and because he's too tall, you let him go? The amounts of people you could have saved from trauma, hurt, or death is out of this world. I mean, all the signs were there. Everything was right in front of their faces, but they were so dead set on this other guy that they went over their heads. Before we jump back into the episode, we want to tell you about something we've been loving: Glow Protocols. If your skin is looking tired or your hair needs a little extra love, Glow Protocols has face and hair serums designed to help refresh, revive, and bring back that healthy glow. We're all about feeling confident and taking care of ourselves, and these products make it easy to add a little self-care to your daily routine. Visit my site at linktree/bornbrazen to shop and get a discount to start your journey. That's linktree/bornbrazen, BORNBRAZEN. Discounts are applied at checkout. Now let's get back to the show. I mean,
I want to add that this took because I have this written down. Oh, and it did take. I'm thinking we were right with the 2 years that he was in jail. The first one, because I specifically made note of this as well, that process to check that DNA, to make more of it in order for them to be able to use it and know that it wasn't gone at that point. That took 2 years to develop.
yes.
Just to be able to take that DNA that they had and do what they needed to do to it.
Yeah.
Because I also want to add that I have here that all of this, going from releasing the first guy to deciding to start doing things and figure out who did what, it took 10 years before it even went from the person who did the double murder to then going back and saying, okay, you actually killed this lady too in the woods, but left her son alive. That was 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They were dealing with all of this, just to show how the cops were behaving. And
yes. And that's really where, if it wasn't already, Andre lost hope in the cops, because, we go back to, they arrested him. Hey, we got the guy. They, put him in jail, and then they let him go. And then the court happens, and they totally threw the case out. And then they still tried to investigate him because they were so sure that this was the guy. And then this happens, and now they call him and say, hey, we're investigating this guy. And he's like, what do you mean you're investigating this guy? Where did this guy come from? And it reopens the case, I think right when things were maybe starting to settle down a little bit. They reopen this case. So the trauma that this family has gone through,
that's the hardest part.
Yeah. And they were like, the cops were like, trust us. And he's like, the hell I will. You haven't done anything you say you were going to do until now.
Yeah. And then
trust you.
On top of that, the father and his feelings about the cops and how all that went down. You also have the son who's struggling at this point, because now he's turning into a teenager. He's turning, he's 10 years old, because it wasn't for 10 years later. So now he's 12. He's
teenager on his own is difficult.
And he's spouting off to his dad, you didn't protect us, because his dad was at work. How hard, I can't imagine being the father and having those words told to me that.
Yeah. When he already feels
guilty. My own son thinks that that I'm the reason that his mother was killed, because I wasn't there to protect him when I was literally doing something for you. I was out working to earn money to take care of you. So he had to have felt awful all the way around.
Yeah. And so, and to elaborate more on that, his son's going through a really rough time, getting into drugs, hanging out with the wrong people, if you will. And the dad, Andre is very being overprotective. I mean, to be fair, look what happened. They were in the woods and somebody did this horrific event. And so any teenager is going to rebel. But you tack on this trauma that he has gone through that, from what I could tell, he's never actually processed it because he never wanted to talk about it. And I think his dad has kept bringing it up. Tell me, how do you feel? What do you think? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. You got to let it go. So he then rebelled against him. And this happened in the series, which again, it's dramatized. So I don't know if it actually happened, but I remember watching at one point in time, he's like, I love you, but I don't respect you.
Yeah.
And man, that's got to be a kick to the face. he is pretty much telling him, like, let me go live my life. And the dad's like, I can't. Like, you're everything that I need. Like, you're not everything, but you're all I have.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let you go because I don't want anything to happen to you. When, again, as a parent, makes sense, but you're actually making it worse because you're not letting them be them. Like, you're
Yeah.
not letting them grow and become their own person. And that's really hard. But also in the drama series, they had lunch. There was a part that they had lunch and they were talking about it. And the dad was already like washing his hands, like, do what you want to do. I'm done. And Alex said something that I thought was hard to hear, but I could understand when he said, you have to move on. You can't stay stuck in this forever because it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to help you. Like, you have to move on. And the dad was like, Andre was like, what do you mean move on? Like, I can't move on. Like, your mom died. I can't move on. And I mean, my mom passed away and it took, I got really depressed and it took about 6 months out of me. And my dad was like, you get your shit together. You have a husband, you have a family. You can't be like this anymore. You've got to move on and get your shit together. And so, I don't know, Jules, what do you think? Because I think that's such a hard situation.
Yeah, because I can see both sides of, the moving on aspect, but I feel like you need to have a little bit of both. Like, I feel like you need to, there is a moving on, but there's also like a healing from it, like like we've talked about, like when you talk about it, like, that's where kind of like therapy, I feel like the therapy part comes in, like, because I understand his not wanting to move on 100% until it's solved. Like,
you can, it's like you can't, it's unsolved. Yeah.
The constant why and like the what ifs that you're living in, I feel like it would be easier having like some kind of end, like to end that chapter to move on to the next one. Like,
some sort of resolution,
like
closure. Yeah.
So I kind of understand why the dad was trying to tell the son, like, I'm not there yet because like I need it to be like, I need to complete it. Like, I need to,
Well, and I think too, they isolated themselves to get away from it. Like, they moved way far away. And he was like, if anybody asked you, like, mommy died in a car accident, you don't talk about it, you just leave it be, because he didn't want.
That's weird to me to be told, like, okay, when you get there and you see your son for the first time, the truth. So let's move away, but then I lied to people about what happened to my mom. Like, if you want me to be in my truth, I'm going to be in my truth, and I'm going to tell people, what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't have to be.
Let me sit down and take a dissertation of what happened.
Yeah. You can say, we're here. We lost my mom. She passed away. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to say she was murdered, but like, don't make up a completely different story. Like, she was killed in a car accident. Like, just be like, I just don't have my mom. We lost her. She passed away, and we're grieving, and we're just trying to move on.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be like all elaborate and be like, because then it sounds, robotic to be like, oh, I'm just going to tell you what my dad told me to say. My mom was killed in a car accident. Like,
yeah. And, they move far away to get away from it and isolate themselves. But his dad has nobody to talk to about it.
Yeah, I feel like that isolation wasn't a good thing.
So he's not processing this. He's not grieving. So what he's doing is he's trying to find somebody to talk to, which is, I think, why he was trying to talk to Alex so much about it. And Alex was like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I watched it happen. I don't want to talk about it. But then he takes that and like gets engulfed in his work. And, he's just a very unhappy guy, which understandably what happened, but was so many years later, like, you got to find happiness or you're just going to die. Like it's not a life worth living. You know what I mean? Like you got to live, you got to move on. We talked about that was a little harsh, but I don't know. That's such a tough one.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like telling somebody who's depressed, like, just get over it.
Just
like,
be happy.
Just be happy. Like, doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah. So, my brain doesn't work like that.
Let's jump back into, I want to kind of go back a little bit and just, so they've let the first guy out. It's not him. Some prints from the second murder were found and matched, if I have my notes correct. They realized that this second guy looks a lot like the sketch in this other murder. They go and check out this guy's home, which is also weird. They find that he lives in this home. There's no bed. They found a toolbox.
His kill kit is what they called it.
Which matched one of the descriptions of the original murder, because they're looking at this guy currently for the double murder.
Yes.
Not to be confused. So the sad part is that I took note of, which I felt bad for, during the trial or before the trial of the double murder, the mother of the deceased passed away 2 days before the trial.
Yeah.
She didn't get to, because they talked about her a little bit and how, she was doing what she could to help out, because her daughter and granddaughter were the ones who were murdered. So she was all up in it. But it was sad, but you hope, we don't have to delve into that, but hopefully they're all together now. So, they also found in his apartment some books and some doodles and some maps, which kind of prompted, I feel like the maps kind of helped a little bit for them to, once they're kind of looking at, okay, well, this guy obviously did this double murder and we're looking into him for that. But that the maps were kind of some clues, because they were like, well, this murder obviously was here on this map, and then the surrounding areas where he was watching her and all that.
Well, yeah, and he circled all the spots where these crimes were happening.
He had weirdo little legends, you look at the legend and different pictures for different things, like a star here for this, a circle here for that.
He should have just wrote on the book, like, I did it.
Yeah. Murder was here, because it questioned, well, what the hell happened in these other places?
Right.
So that kind of moved it up. So at this point, they're like, okay, he's in jail or in the hospital, I guess, for this double murder. And they're like, okay, now we're thinking that he's part of Rachel. So they have to let the father know again. Hey, so yeah, we let that guy out a while ago. But now we found this new guy. He's currently in jail for double murder, but he's Looney Tunes. But we think maybe he is who killed your girlfriend. So of course that brings up more for them, because now they're like, okay, this is happening again. And he's letting his son know, hey, because, the son walks in and who was that on the phone? Oh, well, it was the cops again. And then so the kid's kind of just the kid is had enough at this point. He's like, yeah, what? So I continuously felt bad for him. I don't know if maybe he just didn't want to. I don't know if maybe some more counseling in that meantime. I don't know. They didn't really.
I think he had a lot of resentment for his dad for going through the questioning.
Yeah.
Like, I think he still
Yeah, he
had a
did complain
lot of
about that a little
resentment
bit.
about that. Yeah. And from his angle, right, he went through all these questions. This is how I would think of it. I went through all these questions, reliving this traumatic event, and you still have absolutely nobody for the murder.
Yeah.
Like, I did that for nothing.
Yeah.
Is pretty much.
And then his whole thought process, I feel, is just like, have I not just been through enough? Like, I witnessed this. Like,
Let me go. Let me move on.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
we're done here. Like,
Yeah.
because then you kind of fast forward a little bit, and like this is happening with the trial, and it's like then they have to ask him again, like, do you want to go? And we need you. And so I just can't imagine going through all of that as the child, like, and the over
Yeah.
and over. I probably would have felt the same way at that point. Like,
For sure.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
for sure.
I don't want to keep reliving this. I don't want to, any of that.
Yeah.
And I also want to add here, I thought this was an interesting tidbit that you find out in this. So once they know for sure that they're moving on from the original, I'm sorry, what was his name? Colin Stagg?
Colin with 2 G's.
Yes. So they go, it was a journalist who went to Stagg's home to let him know, we believe they found the real killer, just so you know. Like,
yeah,
it took a journalist to be like, I wonder if we should go let that guy know, like, before it's like this huge thing on the news or whatever. So they kind of filled you in. The journalist went there and told him, like, they have the real killer. It's not you. They know it's not you. And I just felt bad because, literally writing down, he lived a crappy life.
Oh, yeah.
That whole time, like, in limbo of, he never felt, until that day when the journalist showed up, he never felt like they were done looking at him.
Yeah.
And what a life to live,
Yeah.
The other side of the token here, you're looking at all the husband or the boyfriend and the boyfriend and the son having to deal with this question over and over again. We got somebody, we don't. We got somebody, we don't. We want to talk to your kid. We want to talk to your kid. But then this is the life he's living as somebody who didn't even do it. And he's living this life, like, looking over his shoulder all the time because, he goes anywhere, does anything. That's how everyone knew him. Like, you're the guy who's a weirdo, wrote these weirdo notes. And, we think you killed somebody. Like, what a life to be living.
Yeah, that's why they say, like, the victim is not the only victim. Like, there's so many more victims in this. It's the family, it's the wrongfully accused, there's so many other, it's the perpetrator, like, it's their family that they have to deal with. It's just so many people get involved, which is why it's so crucial for you to look at every single aspect and make sure that you have it right. Because if you don't, I mean, daggum, like, you're hurting a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, he ends up, he's not, fit to stand trial, obviously. They try to talk to him to, they said in the series that he confessed to the other ones that he did. So they try to get him to confess about Rachel. He wouldn't confess. And we find out that he had a very troubling childhood.
They portrayed him in the movie, because I know that's dramatized, but they portrayed him in the movie as just being very, like, he didn't talk a lot, I feel like. He just kind of took in what they would say to him.
Yeah.
He was
just very for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, he was just very, like, to himself, kept his head down. He was a very odd dude. And like, to what you said, they kind of fill you in on the type of childhood and the life that he lived and the type of, like, the way his parents were and his family life and all of that.
So, look, it doesn't make it right. It's not an excuse. It just helps you, I guess, understand the why behind it, the motive behind it. So he he got sentenced to life, but he's going to spend that into the mental institution because clearly he has a very broad mental illness. But in the show, and I'd like to know if this really happened, when they were taking him out, because he pled guilty for manslaughter.
Yes. It wasn't until in front of the judge is what he admitted to in front of the judge, because the judge, because it's handled a little bit differently over there, but they were like, you're here because you're being charged with, murder, blah, 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 blah. And he stands up, and that's how he says, I don't know do you recall what words he used, but he basically was like, well, I didn't do it like on purpose. The way he worded it was like, like I did it, but it was a little odd, but that was just him. I mean, that was him being himself and him saying, he said what he did.
But I think what solidified it for me is when he was walking out and he said, "Tell the little boy I said I'm sorry." And I'm like, why? If you did nothing, why? And it kind of looked like in the series, he kept looking up at Andre.
Mm-hmm.
Like he recognized him, which I'm like,
yeah.
So,
but now to get into some juiciness here.
We haven't been juicy enough already, Julie.
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, juicy if you want to call it juicy. This is the biggest part that irritated the shit out of me. So previously, years before, he was being looked at for a rape.
Mm-hmm.
And because what they basically found out was that prior to these murders, he was raping women and attacking women, and they had some DNA, and so they were looking into him, and they didn't know it was his at this point, but they had DNA from a rape.
Right.
He was a person of interest, and they went to his house and they knocked on his door and they said, "We want to talk to you. Would you come into the station and give us your DNA? Like, do you mind coming in and letting us just see if this was you? Like, prove yourself wrong. Prove that it wasn't you." He was like, "Yep, I'll meet you there." He never showed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they just, so okay.
Then they called him and they were like, "Hey, you still haven't came in. We need you to come in." "Oh, yeah, I'll be there." Never came in. So they were like, "Oh, that sucks. Okay, moving along."
What? You don't go looking for him. You don't go figure out where go back to his house where you found him the first time. Just stopped. Just stopped on that case. 100% with him. Stopped. Because that was years prior. That's how they found out and let us know here at the end of this. This kind of segues into what I find funny. So, because they did not talk about this in the documentary, but they talked about it in the movie. There was some stuff at the end of the movie that I want you and I to talk about, because is it real? Did they put it, like, why would they put that in there but not in this?
Right.
So basically the other juicy part of this is after the fact, after he's convicted of killing Rachel, anonymously, the boyfriend gets a package in the mail, and it's pages and pages and pages and pages of everything that dealt with the murderer. Mm-hmm. Like anything he had done, any time the cops were ever like, he was involved here, he was involved here, he was involved in this, he was involved in this, any little bit that had anything to do with him was in this hunk of papers. And so immediately, he's like, "I'm going after the police.
Yeah,
because
he was
this is
hot.
bullshit. He was hot.
Yeah. He was
Had
like,
he been
how many
caught
lives could you have saved? Like, he was hot.
when he did not show up, when he said, "Yeah, I'll come down to the police station, I'll give you my DNA," had they got him from right then, immediately right then, and had he gone to prison for rapes and had the attacks on these women, the murder wouldn't have happened and the double murder wouldn't have happened. Plus,
Mhm.
probably, if I had to guess, there was probably some more rapes in between
Oh,
the "we
100%.
want you to come in" and the murders. Like
Yeah.
there was
They
probably
don't just
other.
stop.
Mhm.
I mean, they do stop, but usually there's like a trigger. And maybe there's a trigger. Usually, like if for these types of serial killers, they start killing and then they stop and then like the mom dies and
Yeah, I
that
was gonna say,
triggers them
I
to.
don't they didn't say anything, I don't
Mhm.
recall, about his mom, so
Yeah.
I don't know at what point, like, was she already gone before he started all this, or did she like, was he just treated shitty by her and started the rapings, and then the mom died, and that made him go into murder?
Right.
They don't really get into that, but
Yeah.
the fact that they came to realize after the fact all the instances in which he was right there.
Hmm.
I was hot. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So he went
And
against. Oh,
no, go ahead.
no, I was going to say they went against the police department.
Mhm.
And here's the most infuriating part. None of them are tried or convicted. None
No,
of them are facing charges.
no. All he did was at the end, they had a press conference and he admitted that they should have done more in the press conference. And he apologized to the all the people. Like he apologized to Mr. Stagg. Sorry we put you through all that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. He he might as well have got on the podium, but like, yeah, we fucked up, but like,
but we still got him. We still got
yeah.
him.
I mean, look at the end result. It took 30 fucking years, but we still got him.
Ridiculous.
Infuriating.
Ridiculous.
Infuriating. So now, if we can end on a good note, I think Andre has found a purpose in trying to, help this situation or do what he can. But him and his son have a very, very wonderful relationship.
Yes, I was very happy to hear that because
Yes.
they mentioned that. Spoiler alert, that is one of the things that they mentioned at the end of the movie, not the documentary, which I thought
Correct.
that should have been, that was kind of important. They make
Yeah.
they make it known in the documentary of the hard times. Please
Yes.
add at the end that they're doing very well now and happy and
Well,
closer than ever.
at the end of the documentary, he did say I have a very good relationship. And I think they interviewed the son and he said, I have a good relationship with my dad. But it wasn't like
Not
focused in on.
elaborated. Yeah.
No, it was just like, yeah, we're cool.
Yeah. Just very nonchalant. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. But I don't know if you remember the situation that happened. I think it was with his girlfriend or somebody where they were like, oh no, he went and talked to the psychiatrist. I think Alex went and talked to the psychiatrist and was like, tell me about this guy. Tell me about Robert. Like, how is he? And
Oh, yes.
yeah. And she was going to like, well, there's not really much to tell. Like, he's been through a lot and he's been through trauma or whatever. And I can't remember the context, but she said something like, we do things to protect our kids because we love them. And I can't remember how she said it. I wish I would remember. But it was pretty much the gist of it was, you may not like what we're doing, but we're doing it for a reason. And when he went back home and his dad had all these papers and he's like, oh my God, look at all these papers. He was like, well, what if he had a bad childhood? And the dad was like, excuse me? I'm sorry, what? Like, are you taking up for him? Are you saying this is okay? Like, he got like super upset.
Yeah.
But then his son was like, I understand what you did. Like, thank you for trying to protect me, like for protecting me all of these years.
Mhm.
And it kind of hit like a light bulb. Like, so now, that understanding I think is there. And of course, he's a little older. And as kids get older,
Yeah.
they understand a little more. So,
And I think it helps knowing that the guy was caught at least.
well, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
for
that was
sure.
what he wanted all along was to know, who, not
Yeah.
necessarily that you're going to get a why, but to know
Because
that
you're never going to get a why out of this one.
yeah,
There's
no.
no reason or rhyme. It was just,
The only thing that makes sense is the family dynamic, the mom dynamic
yeah,
and especially with the comment at the end of tell him I'm sorry. Like
yeah,
it clearly was family and mother issues.
yeah,
Typically it's daddy issues, but that's for the girls.
yeah, yeah. So that's it. That is the crazy story. This poor family, all the people that were involved.
Something from 90 not happened in 1992 and it took 10 years
Mhm.
because of cop
2002.
behavior.
Yep. Yep. But to highlight the victim, Rachel was beautiful, amazing mom, amazing person. They said that she was just happy all the time. Um, I think it was somebody, that can make you laugh and, just really like her and her son had such a good relationship, even to the
Mhm.
point where like when this happened, Andre was like, I don't know what to get because I've never had to deal with this. Like Rachel did everything. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Um,
he had a panic attack when
yeah,
he had to make his run, like when he went from the hospital to the house to get stuff for them to take to the relative. He just panic attacked, not knowing like what does my son even need? Like
yeah, because
that's just
Rachel did
how their
everything.
relationship was. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Alex, really sweet, kept an empty bottle of her perfume so he could smell it. So she was just such an amazing person. Lost way too soon. I mean, 23, that's
Yeah.
insane. Gone way too soon over something. I would say not totally preventable, but a good chance it could have been preventable.
Yeah. Had they
So,
just caught him before when he was in their eye,
yeah,
because
yeah,
clearly, had they pushed, they would have known 100% then that he had already done things that were bad.
yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean, they weren't just interested in him for something dumb, like stealing candy out of a store. Like,
yeah,
it was a big thing that had they caught him then, they probably could have intervened somehow at that point, and then none of this would have happened.
sure. Yep. So that's it. Next week, we are going to dive in to another hot take on Netflix. It is what was it, Julie?
It's
Bring New
actually not on
Opportunities.
Netflix.
Oh, just kidding. I
It
lied.
is
It's on Hulu.
it's on HBO Max.
Oh, HBO. I know what we're doing. I just don't know where to find it. But
Okay.
that's why I have Julie, because she knows where to find things.
It's on HBO Max. There might be some other places that it's on. I had searched it. It's possible Apple, but I can't remember. But HBO Max for sure. I downloaded it, so we're watching it on Plex. But the name of it is Bring Me the Beauties, a model cult.
So I'm excited. I know cults are very interesting to me.
So we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit, and we're not gonna
Yeah,
talk about like, I mean, I don't know, maybe a murder comes up. Don't know.
maybe.
But premise of
But
this is that it is a cult.
yeah, it's going to be a little chiller, not as heavy, a little
Yeah.
lighter, not as heavy. So
Yeah. Because
yeah,
it's not,
so
from my understanding, because I haven't dived into it completely yet, because we love cults around here. I have seen every episode that there is in regards to Scientology. So, but
Girl.
from what I gather, this cult being a tad bit different, not like you said, like not as heavy. In Scientology, you learn a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, like with children, stuff between husbands and wives and stuff like that. Like this doesn't appear to be quite that bad, but interesting nonetheless, because it's all about the pretty people.
And not us.
No, I was not asked to join
Which rude, but fine.
This culture of people here.
Alrighty, so thanks for joining us. Again, comment, leave some notes, tell us what you think. Should they have looked into him earlier? Do you think Colin had potential? Did he do something to somebody and maybe we just have a little
overboard looking into him?
Oh no, yeah. So let us know. As always, if you're listening on Spotify, like and follow, comment. If you're on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of the things to get some traction on here, to get it out more so people can enjoy our rants,
our yakety yak,
as we navigate through these wild cases.